I think we should make love.
I do remember the doors going from like open to closed, all the dressing room doors. There was tension, and I knew that. You know, I was a kid and I knew that.
Why did The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air officially end? What did Tatyana Ali, who played Ashley Banks, say that shocked fans? Was there something going on behind the scenes that we didn't know about?
Hey.
The show was loved by so many people, so why did it really stop? Let's dive into Tatyana Ali's surprising statement and find out what truly happened with this classic TV show.
Now this is a story all about how my life got flipped, turned upside down.
The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is one of the most loved TV shows from the 1990s. It starred Will Smith, who played a teenager named Will from West Philadelphia. After getting into a fight in his hometown, Will's mom sent him to live with his wealthy relatives in Bel-Air, a fancy neighborhood in California. She hoped it would give him a better life. The show was full of funny moments, but it also talked about serious topics like family, race, and finding your place in the world. That mix of humor and important lessons is why so many people loved it. Will, played by Will Smith, wasn't like most teenagers. He was street smart, full of jokes, and sometimes got into trouble. When he moved to Bel-Air, he met his new family, who were very different from him.
And what if he told you that you couldn't entertain men in the jacuzzi anymore?
His Uncle Phil was a strict but loving judge who believed in hard work and discipline. Aunt Vivian was a strong and caring woman who kept the family together. Then there was Carlton, Will's cousin, who was the total opposite of him. Carlton was well-mannered, followed the rules, and had a love for preppy clothes. Will's cousin Hillary was funny in her own way. She loved shopping, was a little spoiled, and often found herself in silly situations.
When did you have a man in a jacuzzi?
This isn't about me, it's about Will.
These big differences between Will and his family members created lots of funny moments, but the show also had heartfelt episodes where they supported each other no matter what. One thing that made The Fresh Prince so popular was its ability to make people laugh while teaching life lessons. It showed that people from different worlds can learn from each other. Even though Will came from a rougher neighborhood and his family lived in luxury, they all grew closer over time. The show was also special because it had a mostly black cast, which wasn't very common on TV back then. It showed black families in a positive light, living successful lives. That representation mattered a lot to many viewers. While the show was loved by many, some people felt it didn't always show the real struggles of black Americans. For example, it didn't focus much on serious problems like racism or poverty. Instead, it showed a fantasy life where everything was perfect. Some critics think this could give the wrong idea that all black people live comfortably, which isn't true for everyone.
We're rich! That's right, we are rich!
Still, the show made a huge impact. It brought hip-hop culture into the spotlight, which was new for TV at the time. Will Smith's character was cool, confident, and funny, and he made hip-hop more accepted in mainstream culture. The show also helped change how black culture was seen on TV, showing that it could be fun and inspiring. Many experts believe The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was an important show for black identity. It showed that black people could be successful and live in rich neighborhoods like Bel-Air. This was a big deal because TV rarely showed black people in those kinds of roles before. At the same time, the show avoided some of the hard topics like racism and inequality. While it celebrated success, it didn't always show the challenges that many black families face. This has led to discussions about how black life should be shown on TV. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air wasn't just based on Will Smith's life. Even though Will's character is named Will, the show was inspired by more than just him. The real story behind the show has a lot to do with other people too. It turns out that Will's co-star, Alfonso Ribeiro, played a huge role in shaping the show's success. In Will Smith's memoir, he talks about how Alfonso gave him some important advice. Alfonso told Will to use his real name for his character because that's what people would remember forever. Imagine if Will Smith had used a different name. It might have been harder for fans to remember him. But Alfonso's advice changed everything, and Will Smith became known as the Fresh Prince forever.
Not gonna happen again, not to me.
Carlton, I understand that you scared, man.
But there's even more to the story of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. You might know that there was drama on set, especially between Will and Janet Hubert, who played Aunt Viv in the first few seasons. Will and Janet didn't get along, and it caused a lot of tension behind the scenes.
Those things never happened. She never left the set. I never left the set. We got along great. I think he was young, and he was inexperienced, and I think he simply had to win.
Things got so bad that Janet was replaced after the third season. She was very open about how she felt about being fired, and this created a lot of drama on the set that we didn't see when we watched the show. While we were all laughing at the jokes and enjoying the show, there were struggles happening behind the camera. The cast members were dealing with real-life issues. It wasn't just the fun, sunny world the theme song made it sound like. There were real tensions and challenges going on, making the behind-the-scenes drama just as interesting as the show itself.
Before I was getting in trouble with Uncle Phil, I was in trouble with Uncle Sam.
But where did the idea for The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air come from? It all started with Benny Medina, a music manager who wanted to create a TV show based on his own life. Benny grew up in East LA, but his life changed when he moved in with a rich family in Beverly Hills. He didn't want to tell the typical story of a poor kid living with a rich family. Instead, he flipped the script and made the family rich and black. Benny wanted to show how class and social issues could play out in a different way. That's how The Fresh Prince came to life.
Benny Medina is the real-life Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, except he actually went from Watts to Beverly Hills. Same basic concept, way shorter distance.
Will Smith didn't just take the role because he wanted fame or fun. He was actually in a lot of trouble. He owed a lot of money to the IRS, around $2.8 million. Will had spent a lot of money without thinking about paying his taxes. His rap career with DJ Jazzy Jeff had hit a rough spot and he needed a way out. That's when Benny Medina offered him the TV show, which became his way out of his money problems.
Me and Jeff had come out with our smash hit, Parents Just Don't Understand. We made a bunch of money. We won a Grammy. Album was triple platinum. I had motorcycles and cars. I called the Gucci store in Atlanta and I was like,
Hey, will y'all close it down if I bring my friends?
and I'm smiling, but that's stupid.
In the early 90s, Will thought he had everything figured out. His rap group, DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, had just released a huge album and it went triple platinum. Will spent a lot of money on luxury cars, clothes, and everything else he could buy, but he forgot to take care of his taxes. When the next album didn't do as well, Will found himself in serious debt.
We released our next album and it was like a flop. It was a tragedy. It went like double plastic.
His life was about to change, and that's when Benny pitched him the idea for the show. Will was hesitant at first because he had never acted before. But Benny introduced him to Quincy Jones, the producer behind the show, and things took off from there.
He introduced me to Quincy and was like, hey Q, what's up, man? He said, hey man, I saw your music videos. I love what you're doing. I love what you're doing. Tell me your rap name again. They call me the Fresh Prince. All right, good. That's what we're gonna call the show.
At first, Will Smith didn't care much about acting. He was more into music and living his life. But then something unexpected happened. Will found himself at a crazy party at Quincy Jones's house. At this party, Will met Benny, who introduced him to Quincy. They talked about Will's music videos, and Quincy liked what he saw. Quincy then said, let's call the show The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He handed Will a script for a TV pilot and said, I need you to audition for this now. Will wasn't ready for this, but Quincy pushed him to give it a try.
And he handed me a screenplay for a failed Morris Day pilot. Like, I don't have the time. So, I need you to do this. I need you to go ahead, take a few minutes, take 10 minutes, study the script, and I'm gonna clear all the stuff out the living room, and we're gonna have everybody sit down in the living room. We're gonna do an audition.
Quincy didn't stop there. He told Will, I can set up a meeting with NBC for you. Just give me 10 minutes. Will thought it sounded crazy, but agreed. The next thing Will knew, he was rushing to meet the people from NBC. Will impressed them so much that the head of NBC offered him a contract right there in a limo. Lawyers started working on the deal while Will was still in shock. Will didn't have much money at the time, so Quincy joked, "Will, do you have a lawyer?" Will laughed and said, "I'm broke. If I had a lawyer, they'd owe me money." It was a funny moment, but Will knew he had to work hard to make it big.
Or you could take 10 minutes right now and you can change your life forever. And I was like, F it then. Yes, give me 10 minutes.
Just 3 months later, they were filming the pilot for the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Things seemed to be going great, but behind the scenes, Will's rise to fame wasn't easy. The IRS, tax people, took 70% of his paycheck for the next 3 years. That's a lot of money to lose. Even though Will got his big break, life wasn't always fun and games. The behind-the-scenes story of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air wasn't perfect either. The writer's room was full of drama. According to a 2017 article, the writers fought all the time and worked long hours. The workplace was described as toxic and chaotic. There were also clashes between the writers, and sometimes it got pretty ugly. Will's bodyguard and cousin were part of the writing team, which caused more tension. To make things worse, there were some cruel pranks. One time, someone even peed in a co-worker's tequila bottle. Not cool. One of the writers, Gingy Cohan, who was one of only 2 female writers and the only white woman in the room, faced a lot of disrespect. She was given a horrible nickname that made fun of her race and religion. Things weren't easy for her at all. The biggest drama, though, happened between Will Smith and Janet Hubert, who played the original Aunt Viv. On the show, Aunt Viv was Will's biggest supporter, but off-screen, they didn't get along. Will was young and eager to be the star, but Janet felt like he was treating her poorly. Their relationship got worse, leading to a huge feud. Janet didn't return for season 4, and rumors spread that Will thought she was too difficult to work with. For years, they didn't talk.
Legally, I'm not allowed to talk about it. But hey. Why not?
Alfonso Ribeiro, who played Carlton on the show, said that the cast was like a big family, but Janet wasn't as close to the others. By the second season, the cast started feeling like Janet's behavior was causing problems on set.
Basically, at the end of the day, it was crazy.
However, Janet had a different story. She said she was never difficult to work with and that she was always professional. Janet believed that Will needed to look good in the public eye, so false stories about her spread. She felt betrayed and hurt. When Janet's father and brother passed away, she reached out to Will and the rest of the cast. She hoped they would help clear her name, but no one stepped up. Janet was left feeling abandoned, waiting for someone to support her. When Daphne Maxwell Reid took over the role of Aunt Viv on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, fans noticed something was different. The Aunt Viv they knew and loved wasn't the same anymore. Janet Hubert originally played Aunt Viv as a strong, smart woman who was a big part of the family's life. She helped guide her children and supported her husband, Phil. But when Daphne Maxwell Reid took over, the character changed. The new Aunt Viv seemed calmer and less involved in the big family moments. She didn't push her husband Phil to follow his dreams like the original Aunt Viv did. Instead, she seemed tired and less interested in the important family stuff. This change upset fans because it felt like the heart of the character was gone. In 2020, Janet Hubert finally shared her side of the story. In an emotional interview with Will Smith, she explained that she wasn't fired as many people thought. She was offered a deal, but it didn't work for her, so the producers replaced her with Daphne. At the time, Janet was also going through a tough personal life, including an abusive marriage. This made everything even harder, especially when people started calling her difficult. Janet Hubert said that being called difficult in Hollywood, especially as a dark-skinned black woman, hurt her career. But she also said it was important to speak out and move on. After years of tension, Janet was relieved to finally tell her side of the story.
Now this is a story all about how my life got flipped, turned upside down.
Will Smith talked about struggling with his sudden fame. It felt very real. Fans got to see a side of him they didn't usually see. This happened during the 30th anniversary celebration of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. It was also a moment where two big stars of the show finally made peace after years of drama. During the special, Will spoke about James Avery, who played Uncle Phil. He said, "I could not do a 30-year celebration of this show and not celebrate you. Celebrate your contribution to this show. Celebrate your contribution to my life." Will's words showed how much he appreciated James for all he had taught him, both as an actor and as a person.
That's the biggest load of bull I've heard since I left the farm.
One of the most powerful moments in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was in the episode Papa's Got a Brand New Excuse. In this episode, Will's father came back after being gone for 14 years, but the reunion didn't go well. Will's dad let him down again, and it left Will heartbroken. The scene where Will talks about being abandoned wasn't completely scripted. Will poured out real emotions, talking about the hurt he felt. It wasn't just acting. It came from a deep, raw place. Many people think Will's powerful performance came from his own life experience. But the truth is, Will had a good relationship with his father. His dad just wanted him to go to college instead of focusing on music. The real reason the scene felt so real was Will's talent as an actor. He made everyone watching feel the pain of being abandoned, even if it wasn't his real story. That scene is still remembered as one of the most emotional moments in TV history. None of this would have been possible without James Avery. He brought so much heart to the role of Uncle Phil. In that unforgettable scene, Uncle Phil hugged Will and showed him the love and support his dad couldn't. James's presence made the moment even more special. Off-screen, he was like a mentor to Will, and their bond made these emotional scenes truly unforgettable.
And I've worked hard to open doors for you. It doesn't make you any less of a man to walk through them.
When you watch The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, it feels like the cast was one big happy family. That chemistry wasn't just acting, it came from real friendships and respect behind the scenes. One of the most touching parts of the story is about James Avery, who played Uncle Phil. He wasn't just a great actor, he was also a mentor, a teacher, and a father figure to the cast, especially Will Smith.
When you got this alleged confession from these two young men, did they have a lawyer present? No, because I'm their lawyer.
Will Smith has shared a special moment that shows how much James Avery cared about his co-stars. During a rehearsal, Will was struggling with his lines. He felt nervous and frustrated because he wanted to do everything perfectly. James, known for his calm and wise personality, noticed this. He gently told Will to relax, saying, "It's already in there. You know what it is." He also reminded Will not to act around him, but to act with him. This advice helped Will calm down and perform better. After they finished the scene, James gave Will a hug and whispered, "That's acting right there." For Will, those words were priceless. James wasn't just helping with acting, he was helping Will grow as a person. He was always there for his co-stars, offering advice and support when they needed it most. On screen, Uncle Phil was tough but loving. Off screen, James Avery was the same. He treated the cast like family and helped create a warm, friendly atmosphere on set. Will Smith often called his co-stars his siblings, and that bond was made stronger because of James. He was the glue that kept everyone close. Karen Parsons, who played the stylish but spoiled Hillary Banks, once said that James had a unique way of lifting everyone's spirits. She remembered how he could make them laugh in between takes or bring calm when the set felt stressful. His wisdom didn't just help Will, it made the entire cast better. When James Avery passed away in 2013, it was a heartbreaking loss for fans and the cast. The people who worked with him always speak about how much he taught them and how kind he was. Even now, James Avery is remembered as a big-hearted man who cared deeply about everyone around him.
I see every great thing a man could possibly want in a woman.
Also, did you know Will Smith once tried to ask Karen Parsons, who played Hillary Banks, out on a date? Yep, even Will couldn't resist trying his luck. But Karen turned him down right away. She told him, "Leave me alone." Looking back, Will admitted that Karen made the right choice. If they had dated and things didn't work out, it could have made working together awkward. Thankfully, they stayed good friends, which made their on-screen chemistry even better. Karen later joked about the incident, saying Will didn't stand a chance. Their friendly relationship stayed strong throughout the series, and fans loved watching their playful sibling-like dynamic on screen.
When did you have a man in a jacuzzi?
This isn't about me, it's about Will.
Also, the show was almost canceled after season 4. NBC, the network that aired the show, decided to end it in 1994. The episode The Philadelphia Story was supposed to be the final episode. Fans were devastated and didn't want to say goodbye. Fans started writing letters to NBC and even to Will Smith, begging them to keep the show going. The response was so overwhelming that NBC changed its mind and brought the show back for 2 more seasons. The love from the fans literally saved the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. The fan letters weren't just about the show's humor. Many people connected deeply with its lessons about family, friendships, and life. It wasn't just another sitcom, it had heart. Even though the show continued for 2 more seasons, things were changing behind the scenes. By season 6, Joseph Marcel, who played the iconic butler Jeffrey, decided to leave and return to the UK. The cast knew it was time to end the show for good. The writers had prepared 3 different endings for the show, just in case they needed to stop earlier. But thanks to the fans, we got 2 more years of laughs, love, and unforgettable moments before the series finally ended. In the final episode, the Banks family moved out of the mansion, leaving fans emotional but satisfied. The ending reflected how close the cast had become in real life. They weren't just saying goodbye on screen, but also in their personal journeys together. James Avery's role on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was more than just acting. He was a mentor, a guide, and a friend to everyone. His wisdom and kindness left a lasting impact on the cast, especially Will Smith. Uncle Phil wasn't just a TV dad, he was the heart of the show.
What did you do? Everybody's always blaming me for everything.
Before Donald Trump became president, he was known for his big lifestyle and appearances in TV shows. One of his most talked about moments was on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but things didn't go smoothly for him on set. In an episode called For Sale by Owner, Trump had a guest role. According to a crew member, Trump wasn't happy with his lines. He thought they weren't funny enough. He complained to the show's producer, Gary H. Miller, about the script. Miller tried to calm him down, saying, "Trust me, you'll get a laugh." Even with this assurance, Trump stayed upset. He got so frustrated that he threw the script pages on the floor. This shocked everyone on set. Trump's wife at the time, Marla Maples, quickly picked up the papers. When someone offered to help her, she said, "I got them." "I'm so sorry." A crew member who was there said Trump's behavior was very rude. "The way he did it was terrible," they added. This moment left a lasting impression on those who saw it.